Throughout the Dubs preseason, there were some concerns. The health with Butler and Moody sustaining injuries, the turnovers with the Warriors most recently committing 25 of them against the Clippers, along with the inconsistencies of players like Brandon Podziemski. However, Will Richard was easily the biggest bright spot of the 2025 Warriors preseason, as over 2 outings where he was inserted into the starting 5, Will averaged 13 points and 5 rebounds in 28 minutes per game, while shooting 42% from the field and 40% from three-point range. Not bad for his first bit of action as a pro. Richard fit right into the Warriors' system with his cutting, spot-up shooting, plus defensive mobility and interchangeability at 6'5" with a 6'10" wingspan. Against the Clippers in his most recent outing, Will struggled early, but how he stayed with it even despite his struggles to begin the game spoke volumes to how much of a solid pro the 22-year-old four-year product of Belmont in Florida really is. In the first frame, after setting a screen for Curry, then making a nice slip to the basket and receiving a pocket pass, Richard was forced into an errant TO after a nice rotation from Chris Dunn. Left open in the corner, this time it's Richard making a weak side cut to the basket and getting a pass from Draymond, but bricking a reverse layup. Staying ready though, off the next pass he received from Draymond, which was a bouncer from the high post, Richard was there to collect and throw it down with 2 hands. This man's always cutting, which will make him a staple in this rotation. Off a Horford miss, GP2 grabs the O board and kicks it back out to Richard, and despite him missing the shot, note how Will doesn't hesitate right here to let it fly with a defender late to close out. Defensively, as Zubac attempts this handoff, watch Will blitz him fearlessly, not worrying about getting caught out of position and ripping it away from Ivica, but he'd blow a dunk on the other end. Then off a kickout from Spencer, who spots him wide open, Will would miss another triple. However, Richard wouldn't let all that sway his focus. Off a Draymond kickout a quarter later, Will maintained his poise and knocked in the J from distance. Clearly putting the reps of that missed reverse earlier to his advantage, here, cutting baseline, Richard gathers a pass from LJ Cryer before hanging in the air to complete this nasty up and under, off another assist from Cryer. Here it's Richard stepping into a highly contested triple and knocking it down. What really impressed me was that even after struggling to begin the contest, plus after missing these 2 jumpers later in the game, Richard stuck with it. In the clutch, Will stepped into this jumper and knocked it down to get Stephen Curry on his feet. Then, while the Warriors could have gotten a better shot than this under pressure, I liked the audacity of this attempt from Richard to tie the game, given it was the preseason. While he missed, he showed confidence to attempt such an audacious shot. What's been encouraging about Will Richard's preseason is how naturally he's picked up the Warriors' principles. Steve Kerr's motion offense is famously built on constant movement, unselfish passing, and reading the floor rather than relying on set plays. That system can overwhelm most young players, especially those coming out of college where the game is slower and more structured. But Richard has absorbed those details quickly. You can see him instinctively cutting to open space when Curry draws 2 defenders, or clearing the corner when Draymond drives to the rim. Those aren't designed plays, that's basketball IQ. Even the way Richard sets screens shows awareness. He angles his body to free Curry for a half a second longer, then slips to the rim to keep defenses guessing. In just a few games, he's become the type of connector who keeps the offense flowing rather than stalling. The Warriors have spent years searching for younger players who get it, and Richard's natural rhythm and decisiveness make him stand out in that regard. And that's where his maturity really shines through. Spending 4 years in college gave him time to develop more than just his game. It helped him understand pacing, leadership, and composure. You don't see him rush into bad shots or overreact to mistakes too much. When he misses a shot, he sprints back on defense. It's that unshakable focus that makes coaches trust you. During the Clippers game, when he missed wide open threes early, a lot of rookies would have hesitated the next time. Instead, Richard came right back, relocated, and knocked it down. That short memory is crucial in a system that relies on confidence and flow. Kerr loves players who can self-correct within the game, and Richard's body language never wavered. He just stayed locked in. Those are the habits of a long-term pro, not a wide-eyed rookie. Defensively, Richard's instincts might be even more impressive. The Warriors' defensive scheme is built around versatility, switching, communicating, and trusting rotations, and Richard has looked completely comfortable in that structure. At 6'5" with a 6'10" wingspan, he utilizes his length to contest jumpers without fouling, plus can absorb contact from bigger wings. But what stood out most is his timing. He knows when to dig down in the post, when to help off the weak side, and when to stay home on shooters. Against Portland, there was a sequence where he stunted toward the ball just enough to bait a pass, then recovered to deflect the kickout. That's veteran-level anticipation. He's also got that competitive edge defensively. He doesn't back down from switches, even against bigger bodies. Combine that with his communication, pointing, calling out coverages, and it's clear that he's got the mental side of defense down early. Offensively, his versatility is starting to expand beyond catch-and-shoot play. Richard has shown flashes of comfort handling the ball in secondary actions, bringing it up off a rebound, attacking closeouts, or initiating quick DHOs. He's not a primary creator, but he's decisive and efficient, which fits perfectly alongside Curry. His footwork when attacking the basket is advanced for his experience level, using quick gathers, reverse pivots, and controlled jump stops to finish in traffic. You can also tell he studies film. He adjusts mid-game, learning how defenders play him. Early in the preseason, he struggled when chased off the line, but by the second week, he started pump faking into clean mid-range looks and soft floaters. That progression, adapting within a few games, is what separates prospects who flash from those who actually last in the league. Another layer to his game that's getting overlooked is his rebounding and physicality. Richard crashes the glass with intent, particularly on the offensive end where his anticipation and energy create extra possessions. He's not afraid to mix it up with bigs and often sneaks in from the perimeter to grab boards because he times his jumps well. That hustle adds value in ways that don't always show up in highlights. You'll see him sprint back after a miss, tap out a rebound, or fight through a screen to contest a shot. These little things build trust with veterans. The Warriors have always respected players who bring grit without ego, and Richard's effort plays exactly into that culture. He's got that Gary Payton II type motor combined with much better size and shooting touch, a combination that could earn him consistent minutes if he maintains this level of intensity. Ultimately, Will Richards' preseason has been a statement about what the Warriors still do best: developing players who think the game at a high level. His blend of athleticism, intelligence, and poise fits the DNA of this franchise. Every possession he plays looks like a step forward, whether he's adjusting to new defensive coverages, cutting with timing, or hitting big shots in rhythm. In a preseason full of uncertainty around veteran injuries and turnover issues, Richard has been the stabilizer, a young player already playing like he belongs. If this trajectory continues into the regular season, he could quietly become one of the biggest steals of his draft class, plus a foundational piece for the Golden State Warriors' next chapter.